Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we are going to be having a look at Old Drifter's Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. Now, there is a console-friendly version of this vehicle as well, called the Con Soldier, and at this present moment in time of recording this video, it has not yet been approved for consoles. However, I'm sure it will get approved fairly quickly, and it will appear on your console mod browser. And if you're not sure, you can search up Con Soldier on your console mod browser to see if it has been approved. I will also try to make sure to make a pinned comment down below when the console version of this vehicle has been approved. Now, with that being said and done though, we do really need to get into a lot of the specifics and the details of this vehicle. Now, honestly, the Gladiator is one of my personal favorite Jeeps in recent years, or I should say from recent years, and the aftermarket has done a ton with these things. All the way from, you know, your standard suspension lift kits, or axle swaps, or swapping in a completely different engine. There are people that have swapped a Hellcat engine into these. There are people that have done a 6x6 version of these things, and really, at the end of the day, they're kind of a canvas for you to build whatever Jeep truck you want to build. But let's see what this one is actually capable of once we get it into the garage and do a little bit of customization with it. Fires right up. Let's check out the interior as well. Oh, this is pretty freaking cool. Got that proper Jeep interior. It's actually got some decent get up and go as well. Like, even in the standard trim, it's got some torque for sure. All right, so you start off with a V8 crate engine, then you go for the tuned V8, and then you have the OP V8, which this one is going to be, actually, it's an interesting scale because it's going to go 400 horsepower, 600 horsepower, 800 horsepower. Now, I think for the purposes of this video, we're going to test the 800 horsepower version right off the bat, but I will say I'm really impressed with how the 400 horsepower version feels, and if you're wanting to integrate this truck into your campaign playthrough and you want to keep a fairly balanced campaign experience, depending on your preferred playstyle, the 400 horsepower version would still be really, really good. Now, the gearbox, we've got the standard 8-speed, we've got the 12-speed all-purpose, and we've got the 8-speed off-road. I'm going to try this 12-speed all-purpose because the creator says it's his personal go-to, but I really want to see what the 12-speed actually offers in terms of drivability. Now, suspension-wise, this is where it's going to get properly interesting. So we have stock, we have towing, we have raised, and we have tuned custom. Now, I'm assuming that the tuned custom is going to be your most crawling-focused suspension, so we'll see what it's like on the flex ramp, but it's interesting how you can actually see, you can actually see a lot of the steering components once you bump it up to the tuned custom suspension. Now, I know it looks a little goofy right now with the standard size tires, however, we're going to go up to a very different wheel and tire package. Oh, dude, actually, I really like these. The wheels on these all-terrains they look really, really good. Now, let's see what else we have. Those look pretty sick as well. Those look kind of like a swamper. And there's also, well, I guess, like a little bit of a different style swamper. These are an actual, like, super swamper slash bogger style. And then we have the monster tires. Now, I'm thinking about probably going with the, I really like the wheels that he went with on these super swampers. I think I'm going to go with the super swampers and see how they do. Now, winch wise, we've got a Warren Xeon winch, and let's do this tall front facing snorkel. And I'm not going to put the gooseneck hitch in the back for now, but just know that that is an available option for it. Now, rear bumper, so you can actually, oh, that's cool. It's a ball and pintle combo. That's kind of interesting because it's kind of like two hitches in one. I really like what he's done with that. Now, I'll go ahead and throw that on because why not? Trunk add-ons. So let's see, fuel, etc. And then we've got a spare tire rack. We got the tools, and we've got the rack itself. But where's the actual rack that holds all that stuff? Let's see. Roll bar, roof. Oh, okay. All right. So that's actually kind of cool because it's a roof rack that also kind of doubles as a bed cap. I really dig that. That's pretty awesome, actually. All right, so let's see. Bumper blank, and then bumper, oh God. I don't know how I feel about the bars, although I do want to put the Warren winch inside the stock bumper. It's really interesting how I believe on these things, on the Rubicons anyway, the factory bumper does have an area that will accept a winch. I'm pretty sure on that. Y'all can let me know with that in the comments below. Now, these particular tires only have these particular wheels as an option, but if you were to switch the tires, you would obviously have different wheel options that you could go through. Now, I really like the red, obviously, And as far as the other colors go, ooh, I really like that. It's kind of like a deeper yellow. Looks good in white. Oh, there's a lot of different color options. The colors in the color selection don't seem to always correspond to the color on the Jeep. But, I mean, it's kind of one of those just odd things that happens with mods sometimes. Oh, I really like the orange, though. The orange looks awesome. There's a lot of different shades in here, and I honestly would recommend going through and really picking the, like, whichever one, not only whichever one that you prefer, but I would honestly recommend spending a lot of time going through a lot of the different colors to really see how each one looks on the Jeep. I'm gonna go with this kind of like orange/yellow. It's kind of like a deeper yellow. Doesn't seem to be any bobblehead compatibility right now, but that's not to say that he may not add it a little bit later on down the road. So now, let's get it over to the flex ramp and see how it flexes out. This is also my first time driving it with the 800 horsepower engine, so... Oh, that's not bad, actually. I mean, it's definitely got a lot of power, but it also doesn't feel like it's about to, you know, explode and jump out of its own legs, you know what I mean? Alright, let's take you up the flex ramp, see how you do. Oh, dude, actually, that's not bad. That's not bad. Now, granted, it's not going to be the flexiest thing in the world, but this also has a lot of lift on it already, so that kind of explains why it might not necessarily be, you know, quite as flexible as some other vehicles, because you got to think about it, the suspension is already very stretched out when it's on this particular setting, so I'm sure we could get a little bit more flex out of it if we changed to a different setup. But flex isn't exactly my main concern with this thing. I wanted a nice balance between lift and flex, and I definitely think that I got it here with this build. There are so many spare tires. I got like 3. I got 1 in the bed. I got 2 up top on the rack. That's so sick. It's really nice to see the Gladiator revisited as well. I mean, we've had Gladiators in SnowRunner before, but we haven't really seen one in quite a long time. And I mean, you know, seeing a new Gladiator, for me, it definitely got me really excited. I was really happy to see this thing dropping on the mod browser. Oh, dude, this thing's got grip for days. I love it. Now, one of the other big tests for me, or at least in my opinion, with a vehicle like this, is that, you know, you have a Jeep, you're going to want to not only use it for campaign scouting, but you're going to want to take it crawling. You're going to want to take it out to maps like TNB Trails or Desert Proving Ground Stage 1. And I really want to see how it does in the rocks, because that's going to be a big determining factor, at least for me, on what Jeeps I spend my time in. Okay, I kind of got my line a little bit wrong there, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm going to try to reset myself. I think it'll be fine. Just trying to get the back axle to kind of slide back over the rocks from which we originally came. Oh, actually, that's not bad. That's really impressive. Like, the fact that it... Oh, God. The fact that it was able to kind of just slide itself around and it had enough grip to maneuver itself around on those rocks speaks volumes about this thing. That thing is awesome. Dude, I need to get this thing out to Dub's map, Red Lawn Preserve. This thing is so sick. Oh, if I flip it, it's gonna be... Yep, I was gonna say, that's my fault. 100% my fault. I take full responsibility for that flip. I'm gonna give it just a quick little run with the Baja Crew. We're gonna just, like, use that to flip it back over, just because the Baja Crew was, like, one of the first things in the list. But, bump it right back over, and I'll just encourage it to come this way. All right, there we go. And go ahead and go back into Create. Remove the Baja Crew, and back into the Gladiator, give it a quick repair, and off we go. Now we get to see what this thing is like in the mud before we get to see what it's like on the dips obstacle, and of course, on the bridge jump. Easing it down the hill at maximum throttle. Don't worry about that. It's fine. Send it. Dude, I can't believe this thing actually has 12 gears in automatic mode. 12 gears is like... That's pretty gnarly. That's not something you see on a lot of vehicles. That's pretty uncommon. All right, let's see how it does in high through the mud. Yeah, so that's a... Wow! That's a full send and a half. I mean, when it gets up to about the bumpers in high, I mean, yes, it will slow down a lot, but all you gotta do is put it back into automatic mode, bump the clutch, and you're good to go. Man, high range is freaking quick. This thing absolutely goes. It's actually really fun to drive, dude. Like, an absolute blast here. All right, let's get this thing in through the... Oh, ow. That went well. Don't do that. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Unless you want to keep, you know, keep your front end of the vehicle intact, I wouldn't recommend actually approaching a dip like that. Easy. Now, I'm trying to be a little bit more strategic about doing this in a little bit of a diagonal approach, mainly because of the simple fact that it's a longer wheelbase vehicle, and you sometimes have to do that. However, when you're trail riding, I mean, a longer wheelbase can sometimes help and it can sometimes hurt. It really all depends on what trail you're making your way through and like what the obstacle at hand kind of requires. Because again, there are many real world scenarios where a long wheelbase can be of great help, and there are other real world scenarios where a long wheelbase can be, you know, what does you in on a trail. Like that can be what gets you stuck. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about line choice and it's all about using the right vehicle for the scenario. Or if you're like me, you're like, you know, I like applying vehicles to certain scenarios that maybe shouldn't be applied to said scenario, but I just really want to see what they can actually do. All right, so now let's make our way down to the bridge jump and see what this thing can actually do once we get it up into 12th gear on the way down. And I've also got to say, he's actually done a really good job at setting up the pavement grip. The pavement grip is really good, and I know that pavement grip is kind of a weird thing in SnowRunner where it's not always going to be exactly what you expect, but for a setup that's got so much grip in the mud and so much grip on the rocks, he really did a good job of balancing it with the amount of grip that you have on the pavement. Now, granted, there's still going to be some slip, yes, but I mean, there's going to be slip with any tire, like on pavement in SnowRunner. All right, let's go. Come on. Oh, we're already up in 11th gear. Oh my god, this thing is getting squirrely. All right, let's go. Dude, that was sick, though. I mean, drove right on off. Dude, like, the suspension's not even fully damaged out. Thing absolutely just drove right away from that. That was legit. Like, that was absolutely freaking sick. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, please do let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and I will see y'all next time. Talk to y'all later, and I hope you guys enjoyed.